dan Assalamualaikum. Nama saya Ira dan ini ialah adik kepada saya, Fatin, Kanisha, Aina, Jessica, Daniel dan Fadika. Okey, forum ini dijalankan di bawah subjek Tamadun Islam dan Tamadun Asal atau nama singkatannya TITAS. Tajuk kita untuk forum pada hari ini ialah untuk mengetahui tentang sejarah ketamadunan Islam di Brunei. Tujuan kami mengadakan forum ini adalah untuk mengetahui secara terperinci tentang Islam dan agama lain di Brunei. Sebelum kita menyelam lebih jauh ke dalam tajuk forum kita pada hari ini, saya ingin mengetahui sedikit tentang anda, seperti nama, umur dan di mana anda belajar sekarang serta kursus yang anda ambil di tempat belajar anda sekarang.
Speak Malay.
Boleh.
Hello, my name is Muhammad Rizin Rafi and I'm taking Bachelor's in Computer Science and MSU, so this is my first year and I'm an international student from India/Brunei.
Okey, terima kasih atas perkongsian anda. Jadi, sebelum kita memulakan forum kita pada hari ini, saya ingin menceritakan sedikit mengenai definisi tamadun Islam untuk mengelakkan sebarang kekeliruan dan untuk menambah ilmu pengetahuan kepada semua yang berada di sini. Jadi, tamadun Islam dari segi sudut istilah artinya kemajuan yang telah dicapai oleh umat Islam dalam aspek kerohanian dan kebendaan dengan berpandukan kepada Al-Quran dan As-Sunnah Rasulullah SAW. Tamadun Islam menekankan kepada kemajuan dan kerohanian secara serentak. Tamadun Islam juga lahir daripada agama Islam sendiri. Dalam perkataan lain, agama Islamlah yang melahirkan tamadun Islam, berbeza dengan tamadun-tamadun lain yang melahirkan agama mereka. Jadi, forum ini akan dimulakan oleh salah seorang ahli kepada saya. Dipersilakan.
Hai, saya Aina. So, keunikan budaya Malaysia juga dapat diketahui melalui pelbagai bahasa dan dialek. Seperti mana kita ketahui, di Malaysia mempunyai pelbagai bahasa, sebagai contoh bahasa Melayu, bahasa Tamil dan bahasa Cina. Dan bahasa juga salah satu cara kita untuk berkomunikasi dengan orang ramai. So, dah terdapat pelbagai bahasa mengikut dialek. Sebagai contoh, kita di Malaysia mempunyai pelbagai negeri, dari Kelantan, Kedah, Johor dan sebagainya. Jadi, boleh tak dekat sini awak kongsikan kepada kami apakah keunikan budaya yang terdapat di negara Brunei itu?
So in Brunei, there are a lot of puaks lah in Brunei, like Iban, Dusun, orang Tutong, like that. And I'm mainly from Tutong, so I don't know the rest of the puaks. So I think there's 7 in total puaks, but I don't know all of them. But yeah, all of the puaks have their own different languages. But the main one they use is Melayu Brunei. It's quite different from Bahasa Melayu Malaysia because they use aku kau, those kind of things there. But yeah, I think that's the different ethnics or counts in Brunei.
So, maksudnya aku kau ni macam saya dengan awak lah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Bagaimana pula tentang budaya orang Brunei? Macam tadi keunikan kan, ini budaya orang Brunei yang seluruh Brunei lakukan. Macam di Malaysia, budaya orang Brunei kalau di Malaysia, budaya orang Malaysia kita ada tarian warisan, kuda kepang dan sebagainya. Kalau di Brunei?
Brunei, to be honest, right? I should have researched before I came here.
No.
Tarian, in terms of tarian, there are some, but I forgot the names actually. But there are tarians, like Brunei-based tarians that.
What about the songs then? For this one?
Sorry?
Okay, for example, for Malay, they have their own tarian Kedah, tarian.
They don't have any national songs actually.
Or just like this dance for that.
Just dance.
For any kind of song, but then you have your own Brunei traditional things like.
Exactly. Yeah.
Next, saya akan tanya satu soalan yang sangat simple. Kalau dekat Malaysia kita ada Melayu, Cina, Iban, Kedasan, Lepas Jawa semua tu kita kau. Kalau dekat Brunei apa kaum yang majority kat situ?
Majority. So the majority is we call them orang bandar lah, orang bandar. Like for them, that's the majority one from the 7 kaum that there is in Brunei. So the second one, which I'm from, is Tutong. Yeah, Tutong. It's actually the name of a district actually. So in Brunei there are 4 districts like Belait, Tutong, Bandar Seri Begawan, and Timburong. So I'm from the Tutong one. Yeah.
Kiranya di Brunei ada negeri dorang jugalah.
I mean, these are districts.
Oh, okay.
4 districts. Yeah.
So what is the difference between like the Putong stuff, Sulawesi, Sarawak, something?
Macam orang bandar.
So the Bandar Seri Begawan is the capital of Brunei. It's more developed than the rest of the districts. So each of the districts has its own uniqueness. For example, the Belait is where the oil and gas mostly the oil and gas from Brunei is coming from. Export, import, those kind of things. For Tutong, it's just a rural area, the rainforest, those kind of things. And then Bandar, Brunei Muara is the name. It's a developed country, a developed district. It is more developed than the rest of the place because the Sultan lives there, basically. And then there's another district which is quite separated from the rest. It's called Timburong. Recently, they made a bridge to connect to that district. So that district is mainly for the rainforest, the mangroves. That they reserve that place for that tourist attraction.
I see. Oh, you guys have tourist attraction also.
Yeah.
Like, can you like list off?
For example, we have in Brunei Muara, there's Kampung Air. Like there's this village above water. I think it was from the 90s, but they are still preserving it. But they're still turning it into modernized house. Like they're turning the old wrecked houses, like the wooden ones, to concrete.
So like people are staying there.
They're still living there. Yeah.
Underwater?
No, it's on the water. On the water.
You mean like the water with this and then the house is there?
Yeah, houses are on the top.
Macam Sabah lah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then?
Okey, terima kasih. Okey, seperti di Malaysia, agama rasmi yang dianuti oleh majoriti masyarakat Malaysia adalah agama Islam. Jadi apakah agama rasmi yang dianuti oleh rakyat Brunei?
So in Brunei, Islam is the main religion. Because as the Sultan is the absolute monarch, so he controls, right? So he's the 26th or 27th Sultan of Brunei. So from the first Sultan, Sultan Muhammad Shah, he was the one who introduced Islam to the people of Brunei, actually, and then came down till now. Then Islam has been a #1 staple of the country, and then a majority, like 80% of the Bruneians over there are Muslims.
So di Brunei ada agama macam Buddha, ada
Yeah, atheists, Buddhists, Christian as well.
Ada tak macam like masjid, toko, kuil, church?
In Brunei, everywhere you go, you will see masjids. Masjids only. There is this one Chinese temple in Bandarla. That's only one that I know of. Then the other, what they call it, Christian temples, those kind of things, they are not that, what they call it, widely known. In the Google Maps as well. If you search up, only masjid will show up in Google Maps. Yeah. Everywhere we go, like, sikit-sikit pusing ada.
sikit-sikit pusing.
Alright, tadi kita cakap pasal Sultan dia punya power like absolute monarch macam tu. Kalau tinggal di Malaysia, kita kan guna demokrasi. Setiap 5 tahun kita akan guna ini. Tapi kalau dekat Brunei, korang guna sistem apa dekat kerajaan Brunei?
So as the system in Brunei is absolute monarch, so after him, his first son will go.
Monarki lah.
Yeah, monarchy. Yeah, exactly. So there are already. So after this is his son Al-Mutalibillah, and then his son, and then his grandson, and then keeps on going.
Like that. if let's say the son is like a baby, still a baby, then how?
Then
the father passes
the father's sibling will take place.
Oh, okay,
Take
okay.
their place.
Understand. Alright.
Okay, next. Pada pengetahuan anda, bagaimana ketamadun Islam diperkenalkan di Brunei?
How Islam was introduced in
Yeah.
Brunei. So I know the story actually. His name is Sultan Muhammad Sharif Ali, I think. He's from Saudi. I think he's the descendant of Nabi Muhammad. And he came to spread Islam through, traveling. And he came to Brunei. Then he fell in love with the daughter because the king didn't have the son for the next one. So he found a perfect one. And then they married and then he became the king. And then he spread Islam as well.
Yeah.
I think the first king, the Sultan Muhammad Shah, his actual name was Awang Ala Batata because he was not Muslim before this. But after Sultan Muhammad Shah, his actual name was Awang Ala Batata. And then he came and then he spread Islam, right? And then he converted the king as well. And then he changed his name to Sultan Muhammad Shah. And then he only had a daughter, so at that time, so he wanted to find the next king for Brunei. So he chose Sultan Muhammad Sharif Ali as the next king, as well as spreading Islam at the same time, making Islam the staple religion in the country.
So is it like Brunei Islamic country already, or only the religions? Agama Islam.
It's a religion country. It's like Islam-based religion country already.
But then like even for you yourself, also like Indian Hindu mixed with.
No, I'm fully Muslim.
You're fully Muslim.
Yeah.
But then you're from India.
Yeah.
Okay, just now you said there were like 7 countries in Brunei. So, pada pandangan anda, adakah kedatangan Islam mempengaruhi amalan dan budaya kaum lain di Brunei?
It definitely affected a lot of things actually, because some of the counts they did, they believe in the extraterrestrial stuff, like for example like worshipping statues, those kind of things. When Islam came, all of those were abolished, and the ways of worshipping were changed actually for all of the count.
So, pada pandangan anda, apakah perbezaan tentang kedudukan Islam sebagai al-din, way of life di Brunei dan kedudukan Melayu sebagai bangsa di Brunei?
From born Islam, is that?
It's like difference between the kedudukan Islam di Brunei and also bangsa, kedudukan Melayu sebagai bangsa di Brunei. So Islam and Melayu. So it's like the what do you call kaum and bangsa lah.
I see. In Brunei, since Islam was introduced like 1800s, from 1800s, 1700s, so it was really easy for them these days to adopt Islam because it's a part of their daily routine already. Like from their parents, their nenek moyang apa, semua Islam. Yeah.
So like as the bangsa, kedudukan Melayu as bangsa.
Sorry.
So how can you differentiate the one you said in the statement you said earlier and differentiate it the other point as kedudukan Melayu sebagai bangsa di Brunei? Because my question is like the differences between kedudukan Islam di Brunei and also kedudukan bangsa Melayu.
So as Islam came in Brunei, right? A lot of the things changed. So bangsa Melayu semua they changed their ways to cope with Islam as well. Yeah. And then all of the things became normal for them in the day-to-day basis. So it became one thing. Melayu, Brunei, Islam and Melayu just came one thing.
So it's like before, is it like before Islam came, it was a different thing?
It was a completely different thing. Yeah.
So once Islam is already in Brunei, so bangsa also they cope up with the same lifestyle as Islam.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
They adopted the Islam.
Okay. So for the next question, bolehkah anda terangkan tentang hubungan Islam dengan orang bukan Islam serta persepsi orang bukan Islam terhadap orang Islam?
In Brunei?
Yeah.
Is it? In Brunei is quite a peaceful country. There are not that much, what do you call it, protests over Islam things, because it's an absolute monarch, and then everyone has to listen to the king. And in terms of from the perspective of the non-Muslim, they don't think anything. They just blend in with our way of life. For example, in Brunei, our school days, our weekly holidays are Friday and Sunday, not Saturday. So in Malaysia, it's Saturday and Sunday, right? It's because the Friday we have Jummah prayer. That's why. So they just adapt with our ways of life.
So it's Friday and Sunday or Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Friday and Sunday only. So Saturday we got school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.
So, like this one you said like Friday and Sunday, right? So
Yeah.
Saturday you have to go to school.
Yeah.
So if let's say like in Malaysia, if let's say Friday and Sunday is holiday, and Saturday you have to go to school, confirm like most of them won't come to school. You have this thing lah because it's Saturday. So if it's your school, like how is it?
To be honest, right, we grew up with those timelines. Like, for example, even from kindergarten, we know that, oh, okay, Friday is holiday, Saturday is school, and then Sunday is holiday.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So it's like a
Except-
habit lah.
To be honest, except for international schools actually, because I grew up, sekolah menengah blah 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 is from locals, and then I went to international school. That's when a lot of things changed. International schools still implement the US ways of life. For example, they still have Saturday, Sundays as holiday, but for Friday, they do give time for Jummah prayer. Yeah.
So basically Friday is for Jumaat prayer and Sunday is it like you all have an intention on that day as well, or is it like
It's called a normal day, normal weekend day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nama saya Fatin dan pertanyaan saya, kita semua dah tahu bahawa negara Brunei menerapkan agama Islam yang sangat kuat. So pertanyaan saya, bolehkah anda terangkan tentang penerimaan rakyat Brunei yang berlainan agama tentang penerapan undang-undang syariah di negara Brunei? Macam mana dia orang tidak undang-undang?
Sharia.
Yes.
For example, the stoning for the LGBT. Is it?
Ya, juga.
When I was in Brunei, like 2018, our Sultan, the current Sultan, tried to implement that rule actually, the LGBT one, the stoning to death for those who are, do those kind of things. It gotten a lot of backlash from the UN, from influencers outside of the country like Ellen DeGeneres and this kind of. They gave feedback, so he took it back. We had to take it back. But for example, the positives outweigh the negative in Brunei. For example, the Sharia law, many people don't focus on that. For example, what I'm saying that the positive side are outweighing the negative, right? So from the positive side, it's like free education, free what do you call it? Free hospital. No, you don't have to pay for anything actually with that. Sultan is gonna pay everything for you. Yeah.
Tentang undang-undang syariah tersebut, pernahkah berlaku sebarang perdebatan atau rusuhan? Maksudnya diorang disagree dengan undang-undang tersebut dan berlaku rusuhan atau perdebatan?
Within the country?
Yes.
No. As it is an absolute monarch country, you cannot argue with the king. If you argue, you know what will happen.
Okay. So, pertanyaan seterusnya, bagaimana peranan tokoh sama ada tokoh politik di Brunei dalam memperkuatkan dan memupuk hubungan sesama rakyat, tidak kira kaum dan agama? Contohnya macam ini sebarang aktiviti ataupun program yang dianjurkan bagi mengeratkan hubungan sesama kaum dan agama misalnya.
Can you explain that further?
For example, like any activities yang dibuat oleh any politicians there to strengthen the bond between Muslims and non-Muslims.
So the ministries there tend to open fundraisings for the anak yatim, those kind of things. So everyone has to come together in order to help each other out. And I think there's nothing more actually. Brunei is quite peaceful, so there's nothing like you don't have to do those sort of events to make people come together. They're already together.
So macam tak pernah ada, you know, macam for example,
The differences in race, is it?
yes, for example, dia orang rasa macam left out ke?
No.
Oh no.
Yeah. From what I have experienced, no. As an Indian international there, I felt really included in everything that they did. Yeah.
So as you say, like Indian country is a monarch country, like it's always like the king, the son, and all. So like, when it comes to the ministers and all, is it like normal people, right? They are can actually participate in politics, election and all, or is it also like
It's a part of the royal family.
also part of the
As you know, Brunei's family tree is quite big actually. Like everyone you know, there is like siblings of some sort. Like for example, someone maybe like my cousin over there. Like the family tree is quite big. So everywhere you go, you're like, oh, he's the niece of Sultan, or like that. So everyone in the ministry is no, I mean no, I'm just using it as an example. So everyone there in the ministry, in the government are somewhat related to the Sultan. Yeah.
Sebenarnya saya agak tertarik dengan soalan konflikra yang diceritakan anda tadi yang mengenai kedatangan Islam yang mempengaruhi amalan dan budaya. Contohnya di Malaysia, orang Melayu sebelum kedatangan Islam mereka berkembang tahu sebab mereka tak lagi ada Islam waktu itu. After Islam datang, slowly kita berubah maka tudung, maka tudung dan sebagainya. Macam ni di Brunei, apa sebelum dan selepas perbezaan selepas kedatangan Islam?
So it is quite similar to Malaysia actually. Before the coming of Islam to Brunei, every woman didn't wear hijab. Of course, the men didn't wear the songkok, those kind of things.
Kalau dengan tradisional maksudnya maybe ada macam kalau di Malaysia mesti ada kita berkaitan dengan orang zaman dahulu terlalu percaya dengan spiritual lah, maksudnya macam hukum semua tu. So sama tak dengan orang Brunei lepas kedatangan Islam dia sebenarnya tak percaya ke atau masih percaya dengan benda spiritual?
To this day, Brunei still has those influences actually. From the older people, from like, you know, they're still from the 90s. From the new generation, there's none actually.
macam kita tahu, Brunei ni negara yang kaya jugalah. So boleh tak awak ceritakan perkembangan teknologi di negara Brunei?
The word, what do you call it?
Technology.
No. The word that you use, Brunei is rich, is actually not true. I don't know why the outside people think that Brunei is rich, but it's quite similar to other countries actually, because Brunei does has its upside and downsides. Like for example, there are the rich, there are the poor, but yeah, of course, there's no homeless people. That's a plus over there. If you see, it's quite ultra rare to see homeless people over Brunei. But in Malaysia, I'm like, oh, if I go to KL, I'll see like, okay, someone's sleeping on the ground. Yeah. And your question was?
Teknologi.
The technological advancements. So compared to Malaysia, right, Brunei is not that advanced. I gotta admit. But Brunei does have this vision. Brunei took the Brunei Wawasan 2035. By then, there will be advancements in terms of LRT, MRT, shipments, skyscrapers, those kind of things. They do have those plans. But yeah, so far, there are none actually. Even the bus system sucks over there.
So banyak tak public transport selain pada bas dekat situ?
Public transport? Brunei's not advanced, right? So there's no Grab. but the thing is that everyone has their own car. And then in Brunei, there's rarely you can see bikes over there. In Brunei, bikes are more expensive than cars. Yeah.
So it's like people over there, they usually prefer to travel using their own kinds of public transport.
Yeah, their own public transport.
Hey, what about the license? for example, in Malaysia, like after 18, we can start applying for license and go for JPJ test and so on. What about in Brunei?
Yeah, it's insane in Brunei.
It's the same thing.
As same as for the whole
18
world.
years old as
18
well.
years old, yeah.
So macam yang tadi awak cakap, mostly rakyat Brunei kan orang akan naik orang punya kereta sendiri. So macam Malaysia kita ada public transport ke? Macam kita kan ada public transport dengan kereta sendiri tapi jalan still jam. So kalau kat Brunei orang punya jalan orang macam still jam tak?
During rush hours, yes. But the
Sama
roads,
macam
the roads
Malaysia
are
lah.
really good actually. The roads are really well built. But yeah, of course there will be jams, right? But yeah, the price of what do you call it? Fuels in Brunei, like petrol, the diesel, is quite cheap. It's more cheaper than water actually in Brunei. Yeah.
Alright, so my question will be based on adat traditional. So pada pendapat Rosai, nyatakan adat traditional orang Brunei.
So other traditional. So for Malaysia, they call it the baju kurung, baju Melayu, right? In Brunei, they call it cara Melayu.
Oh.
But yeah, baju kurung still the same word.
Oh maksudnya dia baju kurung tapi
They
dia
wear
punya
the
perbezaan.
sinjang. What they call it? In Malaysia, I don't know what they call it.
Kebaya.
Kebaya, yeah. They call it sinjang over there.
Sinjang.
Sinjang, yeah.
But the method is the same lah.
Yeah, method is the same. Using silk as a attire.
So it's like the same thing, just the words are different.
Words are different, yeah.
Other than baju, what about the food, the perayaan?
In terms of food, yeah, you can get nasi lemak over there. Nasi lemak, nasi kandar.
Okay, so
Quite
it's
similar.
like Indian Brunei thing, right? So
Yeah.
what do they cook at home? Your mom.
My mom is fully Indian, so she cooks Indian food.
Okay.
Kalau macam Brunei dialek diorang sendiri tak? Macam tadi kita kata bahasa dia aku kau macam. Kalau dialek ada dialek tak? Macam kau buat apa di situ? Itu logat bahasa Kedah. Dialek Kedah. Kalau dialek Brunei.
There's dialect Tutom. There is, but I don't know the words.
Okay. What do you speak at home?
My first language, Urdu.
Urdu.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you say something?
Okay, my
What?
name is Susan. Urdu.
My name is Zain.
Urdu.
It's Urdu and Hindi. Yeah, Urdu and Hindi are quite similar.
I understand what is going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, so what about the Rayas? You know, recently they had the
Oh yeah, the Eid al-Adha.
Haji
Yeah.
ada.
Do you guys celebrate that?
Yeah, for every Islamic calendars, like events, they will be celebrated with holidays, 3 to 4 days of holidays for all. And Sultan will give up to charity a lot more on those days.
So kat Brunei ada perayaan di Bali, Chinese New Year lah.
In terms of the non-Islamic events, yeah, for example, Deepavali, those kind of things, that was the one culture shock I had when I came to Malaysia, because they celebrated a lot of events. In Brunei, they mainly focused on the Islamic ones.
Okay.
Then I didn't experience any Deepavali, those kind of events until I came to MSU.
So at back then, your mother would celebrate Deepavali, she won't do anything special at home.
No.
Nothing.
Yeah, we're Muslims, right? So we don't celebrate.
So even your mother would try to, just celebrate like among your family.
No. But for Islamic events, yeah, there will be celebrations.
So like earlier you mentioned your mother usually she does cook, Indian foods and all. So is it similar to the food we have in Malaysia, like Indian food in Malaysia?
Yeah, it's quite similar in India as well. Nasi biryani, rasam, apa lagi? Dosa, yeah, apa lagi? I can keep on listing, but yeah. Yeah.
So macam kalau perayaan Hari Raya kan, kalau Malaysia kan orang akan ziarah saudara
Their families,
mara
yeah.
kan. Macam korang ada juga lah balik kampung, hadap jam.
To be honest, right, balik kampung is no need because it's quite. Your workplace is quite near with your kampung already, so just go back to the hometown.
So your relative will come and visit.
They will come.
They will come.
It's like just 10 minutes drive.
Oh, so you all stay like nearby?
Yeah, it's quite. Yeah.
So ada Hari Raya ketupat lemang
Oh yeah.
sebelah.
The
what
traditional
about
foods, yeah.
Okay, Malays they have the kuih, the tayak, and so on. You guys do that?
In Brunei, there's this one traditional food called ambulung.
Ambulu.
How is it the white thing?
The sign thing. But I haven't eaten that in my entire life. But yeah, they say it's good.
Okay, like okay during the month of Ramadan also we do bazaar. We do have bazaar here.
Yeah, it's quite similar there.
Oh,
The
okay.
bazaar,
Is
there
it
as well.
big? It's like
There are big bazaars, yeah.
okay, what are the prices? Like almost the same.
In Brunei, it's expensive.
Expensive?
It's much more expensive than this place.
Okay.
Malaysia.
I thought the Sarawak one is expensive.
No.
So macam hari tu pernah datang tak Bazar Shah Alam? Pernah pergi tak? So apa difference Bazar Brunei dengan Bazar Malaysia?
In Malaysia, there's lot more varieties of food and much more cheaper than Brunei. So I could buy a lot of things there.
Okay, my next question, this will be the final question. So, apakah permainan tradisional orang Brunei?
The main one is the congkak. It's quite. I think even in Malaysia they have it, right? The congkak, the one they play with the marble thingy. I have played that before. I've learned that from my lecturer from year 8. It was quite fun. But the other ones like gasing, the wooden, what do you call it? The spinning thingy, spinning top. Yeah. Basically, those are it.
Thank you. That's all from me. Any other question? Anything that you would like to ask?
I have nothing to say because I'm from Brunei, right? So I'm quite similar to Malaysia, so I have nothing to say.
Alright, thank you so much for coming for this interview session. I hope you had fun with us because we really had fun. We baru dapat tahu, Brunei they have this, that and all. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.